Ohio toxic train derailment.
Now, I'll preface this with I've heard some about this. I
Right.
haven't looked into it specifically,
Um,
so I know some, but not a lot.
yeah, February 3rd, derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. Left toxic chemicals spilled or burned off, prompting evacuations of fears of contamination by wary residents distrustful of the state and federal response. That makes sense. Um, so the train itself derailed and was uh, started a fire. Clouds of smoke go into the air, and it's very bad. Um, that leads to people trying to clean it up, and then the government tries to clean up, and they try to help, and the EPA comes in, and then everybody hates everybody uh, who's trying to help, but that's normal. Um, the conspiracy theorists are all over this one, though, because in 2022 there was a movie called White Noise. It wasn't very good. It was directly on Netflix. It was about a toxic train derailment in exactly this place, East Palestine, Ohio. And it was shot there because they have so many trains and stuff like that. I mean, you're going to shoot a movie about trains, you go to East Palestine, Ohio. That's just what you do. Uh, and so it's the globalists telling you what to do, telling you what their plans are. They can't just do the plans; they have to tell you ahead of time. Yeah, that kind of that's that kind of thing. Um, but let's see, and then a reporter got arrested because of it. He was a reporter arrested during news event in Ohio train derailment. Uh, they won't let you report the truth. Joe Biden is arresting reporters who tell you the truth. So that happened, and I think the most important thing, let's get rid of that, is this right here. Legislation was passed under President Obama that made it a legal requirement for trains carrying hazardous flammable materials to have ECP brakes. There's electrical something power brakes. But this was rescinded in 2017 by Trump. And then he brags about it. The Trump administration has terminated more unnecessary regulation in just 12 months than any other administration has terminated during their full term in office, no matter what the length. The good news is there's much more to come.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is an L for the Trump administration because that's the part that I have read about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was one of the regulations that was rolled back by the Trump admin, and yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend that.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Republicans hate regulation, but they don't hate it for the right reason. They hate it because it costs money to the corporations. Yes, these ECP brakes are expensive to put on trains, and if you're running hazardous chemicals on your trains, you ought to spend money to make them safer. Republicans don't
I
like that.
agree.
I know Republicans don't like that. Trump doesn't like that. He calls it unnecessary regulation. Um,
There is some unnecessary regulation. This I don't know. I actually now I don't think is one of the unnecessary regulations.
right.
Um, I think when you say unnecessary regulation, um, the double regulations that occur on oil companies, for example, apply.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the single regulation on a train company saying, "Hey, if you're if you're uh, transporting hazardous material, you have to have these kind of brakes." That's not a double regulation. That's hey, just have these brakes. Like that's different.
Yeah.
Uh, which I'll say is that's some egg on the face for Trump. You know, uh, he rescinded those regulations, and then we have this crisis, and everybody gets to point the finger.
Mm-hmm. Like regulations are important, and I know that some of them could be unnecessary. And if there were an unnecessary one, you should look at it with an intelligent eye. You should get experts to look at it, determine whether or not it's unnecessary, instead of what I suspect. They just say, oh, it's a regulation, get rid of it. And then they cross it out with a Sharpie or something like that. All regulations are bad, let's get rid of them. The guy ran on removing regulations, and then he did. And I don't think he did an intelligent, I don't think he removed them in an intelligent way.
Yeah, that's a possibility, and this is certainly evidence of that. So I won't fight that.
So,
In an intelligent way,
mhm,
um, I guess that the one argument you could make would be um, this is not something that happened or was anticipated to happen on any sort of frequent basis. Uh, so, like, if the regulations cost you billions per year,
mhm,
and then something like this happens once every 50 or 60 years, then, well, what's the cost to benefit on
mhm,
that, right?
mhm.
Where that's where I'd say, okay, well, we should look at that, but I mean, maybe it's just really really bad timing, like less than 5 years after the deregulation of these breaks. Whereas, like, how long were they actually regulated before that? Was that from the Obama administration?
Yeah, I
Which
think
I think it was.
yeah, Obama, uh, it doesn't say when he made it. Uh,
So Obama passed it, and then
yeah.
Trump rescinded it.
Mhm.
And how many years, or how many accidents of this level occurred uh, before that regulation was passed by the Obama administration? At which point it would be considered unnecessary because it had never happened before,
Mhm.
or it hadn't happened in however many years. And then this happens, and it's like, oh shit.
Hey, that was the reason they suggested we do this. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, but without historic, you know, precedent for it, there was nothing to point to say that this was necessary. So he called it unnecessary and repealed it.
well, I think that that's a possibility, but I suspect that he was told that it was unnecessary by somebody who owns trains
Probably.
and
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to
Oh
spend any
yeah.
more money on it. Uh,
I'll agree with you there.
uh,
I agree.
I don't think Donald Trump studied the situation. I think he talked to a guy who owns trains and said, "No, I don't like spending this money. Can you get rid of this regulation?" Uh, and he is anti-regulation. He is a business guy. I recognize that. So, yeah, that's how I assume that's how it happened. Uh, so, what else we got?
The good news is that probably the regulation for the requirement of ECP brakes will come back
And I don't
as
love that idea. That
as a
right, right.
as a
Like,
response.
I don't. I hate the idea of our ping-ponging government. For 4 years, ECP breaks are required, and then for 4 years they're not, and then for 8 years they are required, and then for 8 years they're not. We're going to keep moving the uh, capital of Israel back and forth. We're going to keep. We're going to be in the Paris Climate Accords for 4 years, then we're going to be out for 4 years, then we're going to be in for 8 years, then we're going to be out for 8 years. Um, the
Well,
Iranian nuclear
um,
deal, that's on for like 4 or 5 years, and then it's off for 4 or 5 years, then it's back on. This is a bad way to govern, I think.
I agree. I have a great solution to that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Legislate it.
I mean, it wasn't it? Well,
No.
I don't know. Did Obama
If the
just
Trump
pass
administration
them,
can straight up just repeal
cancel them?
executive orders, so that wasn't passed by the legislature. That
Okay,
was an executive order.
okay.
And executive orders, the number of them have climbed every administration for
Mm-hmm.
the last fucking 40 years.
I agree. Why do you think that happens?
Stop. We
Why?
have to stop doing that, and we need to start legislating things again.
I agree. I think it's a great idea. But why do the things not get legislated and they get passed to and expected that the president will just uh, um, executive order them?
Well, I'd say that there's too much division that's occurring, and of course you're going to blame Republicans for that, and I'll blame
No, I'm going to blame
Democrats for it.
both. I'm going to say that they're
And
both cowards. They don't want to take a stand. They don't want to vote for things. They want to get elected and they want to sit completely still and do nothing. A lazy legislature is what causes the increase in executive orders.
then what we have to do is we have to elect people that actually want to legislate.
Nah, they'll get voted out after they vote for something. Um, taking a stand means that people will dislike you. You know, um,
I think it's the opposite. I think that people that take a stand are now considered the fighters. Like I'll take an example from your side.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie or AOC are very much well liked because they don't, uh, you know, just kowtow. They don't just go with whatever. They actually fight for what it is they believe in. Even if I think that they what they believe in is wrong, they at least fight for it. We don't. I don't. I think we don't have enough people that do that. Uh, you might be right. There might be enough people in politics that are not willing to actually fight for what it is that they believe in, and they're willing to just toe the party line
That's
because they think that
yeah,
if you don't toe the party line, then you get primaried,
right,
and then you lose.
right. And then during the primaries, what you get is people complaining about the stand you took. Um, so if uh,
Which I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand. I don't
it's
understand it at all
it's because they
because
don't want to do things for the country. They want to be elected.
you know, but why?
Why? Because it's a
Why do
cush
you want to be
job.
elected?
Why? So that they can
Well,
have power and authority and importance, but they don't want
they
to.
they have pensions. They get
I know.
paid. You serve one term and you get paid for the rest of your life a fucking six-figure salary. Like you don't have to do anything after that point. Why are they still there then? I don't understand it.
Because they're still getting paid by the corporations. They're getting money from people to campaign, and during those campaigns, they get to go to places, they get to eat food, and they get to write it off as campaign. It's money. You the longer you're in there, the more you have the more you get paid.
I
And
guess.
it's a job that they want, and they want to be important, and they want a thousand subscribers. I want subscribers on YouTube. That would be nice because then people would listen to me and people would hear me and know what I'm saying, and it would be fun and it would be nice. But they want to be employed as senators, but they don't want to take a stand on things, and I think that's why we have the increase in executive orders. That's why they want to not make decisions. That's why Roe versus Wade wasn't decided by um, the legislature because some of them would lose their seats because of it. If I mean Obama took over, and I remember your discussions about Roe versus Wade. Obama took over. He had the House and he had 59 senators. 59 senators.
Which
Um,
means you need just one,
just
and
needs
that's
one.
even without the nuclear option.
Right. And he could have passed Roe versus Wade, but you know what would have happened? Somebody who voted for that Manchin would have had to vote for it because he's been in forever. Joe Manchin would have had to vote for it or vote against it, and based on his voting for or against, he would lose his seat. If he votes for it, the conservative people in his state won't vote for him again. He loses his seat. So he doesn't want to bring this up. He doesn't want to discuss it. He doesn't want to talk about it. Taking a stand means people don't like you sometimes. So, no, actually, you know what I'll say? Taking a stand means that half of the people aren't going to like you, and they want to be liked by everybody.
So it's like a Homelander in The Boys. They want to be liked by everybody,
They
and then
want to be
they end
liked by
up
everybody, yeah. But then they have to make,
being assholes.
they have to do things, and doing things is hard and difficult, and you have to take a stand, and nobody wants that. That's difficult. I mean, uh, based on my own political words right here, right now, a lot of people are going to dislike me. And the same for you. Based on your stance on certain situations, people are going to dislike you. So if you want everybody to like you, you have to be in the middle, um, uncontroversial. You know,
Well, they can suck my dick.
I agree that they can do that.
So,
And
I mean, you know what? I bet you that we are going to end up as a larger stream once we get our audio problems solved, of course.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I'm not helping by not being on Twitter or Twitch, but uh, that's
because I think that people are looking for something where people are able to actually come together and talk about, actual issues
mhm,
in a reasonable way.
mhm.
Like without getting hyperbolic about it, without this ridiculousness with canceling people and uh,
Yeah, I would hope so.
getting offended and
Yeah,
you know
I would hope so.
hopefully
But
we can avoid the drama of your typical streamers and whatnot.
that's what I would like to do. But drama gets a lot of engagement. So I'm going to need you to call me a Nazi, and then I'm going to call you a Nazi, and we'll go back and forth on who's a Nazi.
All right then.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, press the subscribe button. Uh, if you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. Um, this is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.